Let us uh, talk about the Gen AI. Nowadays, generative AI, everywhere you can say we are using. So nowadays, whenever you're talking about the Chat GPT, right now, so Chat GPT is a model. GPT is a model that allow you can say whenever Chat GPT launched at that times, we are mostly end users are familiar to use the AI capability. So look like in a recent look the trends, majority of people, maybe IT or non-IT peoples nowadays as a chat GPT available in the form of browser, in the form of app, in the form of WhatsApp messages. Everyone almost whatever the people's generally they are using the technology are familiar with the ChatGPT or lots of other model like Grok and other things. So as a Java engineer, can you think how we can leverage, how we can utilize this Gen AI capability while building my applications? Obviously, yes. So whenever we talk about the history about the AI technology, generally used by the data scientist peoples previously, and mostly they are using the Python as a tool to leverage the AI capability, a machine learning capability. Okay. So today we are going to understand the basic about the Gen AI. I'm not going to talk more deep about this, but surely Gen AI the very big topics. But nowadays we are more, you can say, familiar how we can use them, how we can chat them, how we can convey the message. Whatever we want, we can get from the Gen AI. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the first Gen AI, and then surely we'll think how as a we Java developer can utilize this Gen AI capability in our application while building applications, while delivering the software. Okay, so what are the tools and techniques available for the Java technology as well as? So let's think this terminology, Gen AI, we everyone mostly we know from the Chat GPT in a recent year, last couple of years, you can say. But the terminology AI is not the new things. So let's talk. What is the history when this artificial intelligence concepts introduced in our computer science? Okay, so mostly the people who have a background in the computer science or engineering background, they know that this concept artificial intelligence is not a new thing, not developed the recent past 4 or 5 years. Okay, so let's talk little bit about the history when the AI was introduced in computer science and now how we are using. Okay, so if you talk about the basic journey of AI, so the terminology artificial intelligence, AI stand for artificial intelligence. This is not the new terminology. Notice it, they are started in 1956 in the computer science field. So this is the artificial intelligence, not the new things. Notice today we are working. inside the 2025. So almost we are the end of 2025. And this concept was introduced in computer science in 1956. It's not a new thing. First things, AI is not a new concept. Huh. Surely it will take a time to available for common user, every user. So first introduced in the 1956 in the form of artificial intelligence, then they moved the concept 1997 machine learning. After that, again 2012, the concept come in the deep learning, and then 2021, you can say the concept of generative AI introduced. So generative AI, we are the computer engineer, software engineering teams, are the other industries are started using Gen AI in the form of Chat GPT in after 2021. So generally, people's our engineering teams are started knowing modeling after 2021. So this is not the new concept. AI concept introduced 1956. Then they developed the machine learning. While the machine learning concept, they are learning from the existing data and making decision. So in the machine learning, what we did, we feed up lots of data, historical data in our system, and our system generate, apply some algorithm and try to make a decision, try to make a prediction. And later part deep learning come, then we introduce the concept of your neural networks, where we are thinking how our human brain work, how we as a human being thinking, how our human being take a decision, what is the patterns we observe, then they recognize the complex pattern and systems. And now, not just our machine can learn the historical record data and predict something. And now, beyond the predictions, now we are able to generate content. That means nowadays, our Gen AI model capable to not just predict the data, take decision. Now, our Gen AI model is capable to think like human. They generate the new content, not the historical record. They generate the content on the behalf of you. So that is the magics of the Gen AI. Gen AI is not surely Gen AI is the machine learning capability, deep learning capability with the AI model. They work as a machine, but they can think like a human and look like we generate the content. Similarly, now our computer, our Gen AI tools can generate the new content for you. So that is the basic, you can say, history. First things, AI is not the new concept. AI is a very very old concept, right now, 1956, and now we are in 2025. Okay, so that was the history. The Gen AI or AI capability, the not new things. This is the oldest things. Slowly, 1971, 2020, different milestones our computer science industries is achieved in the AI field. And after 2021, it's available for everyone to use the Gen AI. Gen AI, that means a generative artificial intelligence. It's a major nowadays. The achievement, they can create the new content for you. Nowadays, we need what about the requirement? The generally this system generate the content in the form of text, in the form of audio, video. image, and even the software engineer, we programmer, we need a code. Someone asked me, hey, this is the requirement. Generally, we are going to write the code to understand the requirement, analyze the systems, and write the code. These things also taken care by your Gen AI model. The Gen AI think and generate content, generate response according to your questions. Right now, the based on the learn of his existing data. So only how think our Gen AI model can generate the content. The major backbone behind the concept is the existing learning patterns. They have learned lots of content. So our Gen AI models can learn lots of ebooks, lots of web searches, lots of blog, lots of historical data. We, our software engineering teams, have learned, send them data, learn from the past. Now our system are more capable to response of your questions, of your query, look like in natural way. So now our Gen AI model is capable to think like a human, and they are response like a human. Okay, so if you talk the before Gen AI concept, which are mainly we are using the machine learning concept for the analysis or analyzing of the existing record, historical record, and on the basis of some pattern algorithms, we are going to find out predict what would be for the particular sale, particular policy. So we are going to step ahead ourselves and not just predicting, analyzing the existing data, even producing the kind of output what the human looking. They are a created content like a human created. Someone may ask, hey, you can create an email. This is my subject, this is my topic, this something. Okay, our Gen AI model can generate fantastic email for you. Generate some image. Hey, I want to image where one is the sea, some trees, some fishes. They can create. They can create audio. They can create video. So now our Gen AI is more powerful and capable model to solving the human related problems. Okay, so these are the major, you can say, key benefits: content creation, learning from data, and models use. So the concept behind that, whatever your model, whatever the model you are asking question, they are responding on the basis of learning of data. So our model, we continuous learning them. So large data set to learn the pattern and structure. So our model, they have, we trained with the lots of data, lots of different patterns. Okay, so now our systems are more capable, and those learning, you can say model, lots of model nowadays available like chat gpt model, dl model, and stable fusion model. Okay, so there are kind of a multiple model nowadays available. Sometime you want ask some text input and want to test output, chat gpt. Okay, similarly you want to some image kind of things, or some music, some audio, video. So generally for those scenarios, this is the diffusion models. Diffusion model is other than a text. So whenever you can generating any article, story, that's okay. go to the text model. But sometime you want to generate music, audio, video, so those we have a separate model, we have a train. So be carefully what the purpose you are going to use. You have to choose properly learned model. Okay, so let's think so how this works. Okay, so let's about the GPT. Yeah, chat GPT can say. So GPT generative pre-trained transformer, the meaning of GPT. So generative they can generate pre-trained, they are pre-trained transformer. So transformers is a architectures of the GPT. So this architecture, T for transformer architectures, take your input and process and then output. So internally, transformer architectures work on the two high level, again, sub architectures, encoding and decoding part. Encoding means whatever you are pushing the input, they are doing some steps to perform the encoding, positioning, encoding, lots of things, and then they are perform some decoding and process the output. So here is the kind of a feedback loop kind of concept implemented here. They are get input, process them, again input, process them, again input, process them. So overall, this model you can say also say key deep learning model, or you can say transformer or diffusion model. These are two different terminology, but overall the overall architectures is the transformer architecture for the gen AI. That is, they learn the lots of data with the different uh, steps, almost 14 steps they perform for encoding and decoding. So overall, this transformer architectures are our model, whatever the model we are using, that's our stateless model. Means they take input and response. So generally, they are responding, means they are predicting what the output would be. If you pass input, and our transformer model, GPT model, predict what, say you can say pass high. So our trained model is going to think high, and what would be their response. Okay. So they take one input and perform our algorithm, whatever that they have a trained data, and then predict one next word. And similarly, they again think, okay, it might be this is not completed, so they again feed this information again as a feedback. That a feedback again think what would be the my next sequence of predictions word in the form of response. Again predict the next word. फिर again feed this complete data in the again this input, and again response, hey, this is the next sequence of word. So finally say, hey, stop, now we have a predicted the sequence of words that make your output. So the concept here, passive input, internal our model predict one words, and then think what will the next, then think what will the next, then think what will the next. So word by word are sequence of response they are generating. So predict what come next in the sequence or create the realistic output from the prompt. So the logic here, you pass one thing, they think and predict what would be the best answer. How they categorize what is the best answer? Because he have already model already have a trend of the large number of data. So according to the input, they know what number of responses, percentage of responses we had. According to the data, according to the long historical record, they predict what would be the next my sequence of output. What will the next sequence of output? So once they generate one output, and this output again feed to the transformer. Transformer think what would be the next sequence. Now two sequence, Two sequence again push to the transformer. Then third sequence. So sometime you notice our transformer can generate the sequence of response as he think this is the complete response. This is known as a feed forward looping kind of concept. Okay. So as of now, we don't go more inside. If you want really make understand how transformer work, that's a very good the document or architecture publish in one second. And so this is the document which are available. If you want to read the complete architectures of this document, you can download. Yeah. So this is the complete your model architectures, how our GenAI model implemented. What is the transformer architectures? So these are the complete transformer architectures. Your tech input and applied the input embedding. Embedding means here they are converting your input to the particular tech number system. You can say or you can say code, ASCII every code they can see, unique code they generated, then positioning encoding, then multi-head attention, then add and norms, then again feed forwarding, add and norms. These are complete architectures, and this is known as a encoding architecture, and this is code as a decoding architecture. The decoding architectures in the case of whenever they are responding our system, this is the nx nx. They are trying to multiple times train encoding and decoding. So if you really want to read the more details, this is the paper. Just you search. You can Google and you can find this is the attention is all you needed. Just you click here. This is the first link you found, and then you can just click on the view PDF, yeah, view HTML, whatever the source you want, and you can reach here. So this is a very very detailed architectures about the transformer, everything, how its training happen, what the optimizer. So this is the very internal. So we are not going to talk too much about the internal, but if you want something, surely you can think you can take the references of this document. Okay, this is the very you can say nowadays what are the chat gpt model or what are the GenAI model we are using, the internal architectures is the transformer. Okay. So as you talk, this is the complete your GenAI model. So these they are learn our whatever the first we train our system with a large data set, you can say. So after that we have in the market we have available different types of model. So whatever the generative AI model, previously they are trained a huge amount of data, lots of ebook, lots of PDF, lots of web, lots of blog. Over the internet we have done millions of parameter based we have trained. So now our AI model is have a lots of sufficient information content available. So whenever someone asks, hey, I'm asked one questions, our generative model, our transformer model, okay, take input, and according to their trained data, they are going to generate the sequence of responses. The one sequence, again sequence, and once output contain, they are going to return. So overall, you can say in any GenAI model, basic things they have a trend on the large amount of data set. And one thing, every GenAI model had one cutoff date, till which date the particular AI model have a knowledge. That means ki on which date till we trained our model, we provided information to the model. If it ask any model, what is the current today? Some event happened. Tell me about that. model don't know. So we have to be aware our model can respond till date those model are trained. So whenever you're going to choose any model, you should aware what is the cutoff knowledge date for that. Okay, the model, different kind of models can be trained on a massive amount of data, text, images, Excel, overall the internet, lots of information. And generative AI model learn patterns and relationship using the deep learning. So whatever the transformer logic, that is the generative AI model. They have apply over the finding the pattern, relationship, neural networks, and they are predict what would be the next sequence, what would be the next sequence, what would be the next sequence. Finally, once he says, "Say now, my complete response is completed," they can say, "Hey, done." And here in the AI model, whatever I can say, questions are input. That is terminology they are using the prompt. Prompt is just the input which you provide, or the question you want to ask. Okay, and content here refer the output. What kind of output you want? You want output as a text, as a images, as a video, as a audio, as a streaming, everything. Okay, so that is the basic about your how it's Gen AI or works. Okay. So in the generative AI, the most important the components about your the model, that is known as a large language model (LLM). So that is the things. It is the Gen AI or transformer algorithm or model or a flow work on the basis of your trained data. So while training data, you have to uh, choose the particular LLM model, large language model, that designed to understand and generate human language. This is the beauty of the LLM. They can understand and generate the responses like a human, like you think, in which language you think, they can think according to your language. The models are trained on a massive amount of text data and use advanced neural network architectures or transformer to produce and predict the patterns. So sometime whenever you're using the Gen AI model, we have to talk the terminology LLM. LLM is which model basically you are going to use for your chat GPT or your Gen AI. And these are the some you can say key point about the LLM. If you so the LLM is the scale is very very high. You can say they have a million or billions of parameter which make them a powerful understanding the context. So if you are able to properly convey the context to the LLM, LLM can respond very specific to you. Okay, so simple. The question you are asking with the question, what level of in context information or background information you are putting. If this model, according to the context, they can give you the as accurate answer as you want. If you are not providing the sufficient information to the model, might be they can guess very general answer. Okay, so this is the beauty we have to learn in the future, how we can provide the sufficient context or background, the topic which we want to take the output. So this is the very very you can say key things we have to understand. Our model are very powerful. They can understand the context, what are the context you're providing, and once the model can understand your context, they can provide the very good response, maybe for the text generation or your summarization, your translation or question answer, or in any kind of things. So in the market, lots of LLM model have, like more famously nowadays we know ChatGPT, and ChatGPT with different versions, ChatGPT 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Cloud, LM, PLM, lots of model have. So whenever we are using the ChatGPT, that means internally ChatGPT, the specific model, specific version model they are using. So we as a app engineer, we should know what the my requirement and which model LLM I'm going to use. So in the market, mostly LLM are the proprietary. That means you have to pay something to use for the particular model. Which model you are going to use, they have a train on the millions of the data, and they are required lots of cloud resources, hardware to process millions CPU computers are associated. Most maybe not talk, but whenever we talk our general computer have a CPU, central processing unit, so they can run 2 or 3 or 10 tasks parallelly. But whenever we talk about the LLM are run on the different kind of GPU kind of machine. They have lots of parallel processing capability. Okay, so due to the loss of cost, so majorly all the good model, GenAI models, if you want to use, that are the paid versions. Good talk about the chat GPT. The chat GPT internally using the chat GPT 5, they are paid. You have to pay something and then you get the response. But for the learning purpose, initially they are open the free. Some models are the free version, but the some advanced or some of the application ready kind of model you want, you must go with the proprietary models. Maybe GPT model, Cloud model, Gemini model, Grok model, DeepSeek model. So you can have lots of paid Gen AI model available. So whenever you are building applications or you are going to use, you have to select which model, because these models are different model. Okay, so not going to talk about the deep model. Whatever the model you are going to use, we have to read properly descriptions. This model is designed for what is the cutoff date, what is the data they have done, what is the parameter, what is the number of medians parameter they are trained. Okay. So one thing, the models, some models are the proprietary, that is the paid. You have to pay something and then you can use the model. But for learning purpose, lots of you can say open source LLM also available. The good part, if you want to learn how we can use the LLM in my applications, that good part, these are the models are you can download, modify, deploy without the licensing fee, and great for the developer. As a engineer, if you want to learn something for developer, you can use this the different kind of LLM that are free. Okay, so according to the your understanding, your knowledge base, you can use this open source. So now you have a both choice. If you want to learn the uh, ChatGPT concept, GenAI concept, initially it's good. You can go with the free paid, but once you learn, then if you are going to build any application, ready-made application, then surely you can go with the use the paid model. Right, but lots of maybe feature capability you cannot found this open LLM, but lots of more capable feature you can find in the you can say paid model. But the initial point of view, whenever you're going to start learning the basic it's good, but you cannot continue whole you can say Gen AI capability in your system with the open source LLM. And if you want to find open source other LLM, lots of websites available, and you can Hugging Face. This is the website. They offer lots of open LLM. Okay, and even good part, they also you think they have categorize all the model depend upon the use case. If you want to text generation, the text generation model you can choose. Okay, click here and all the text generated model you have. Okay, right, and similarly you want to image, text to text, or image to text, image to image, image to photo, audio to video, text to video. So lots of parameters here available. You can choose. Okay, so lots of different model available here. You can just things like and the model or the number of parameters they are trained, maybe 1 billion, 6 billion parameters. And nowadays, lots of library available for us to use the AI model in your application. So maybe lots of library available like PyTorch, Transflow, JAX, Transformer, Diffuser, lots of uh, so similarly, on this concept, there is a concept of lots of app available for you that provide the very kind of a concise and a good framework. You just quickly start using LLM in your application. Okay, so like VLAM or TGI or MaxLM or LMA Studio or Ollama. So today we are going to also use the Ollama is the one app that help us make one interface for us. Hey, just you can use this different URL application and inside everything taken care by this application how you interact with the model, which model you want to interact. So lots of applications are everything available like provider like Brook, Novita, lots of so here the initial purpose, know basic about things, you can explore the about the other models here. Okay, so so now let's this is the basic about your only the Gen AI model. Now let's about the talk to the application. So whenever we are thinking, we have applications. So my application communicate to the GenAI model and response again to the my application. So this case we think carefully. So one thing, our GenAI model, whatever the model you select, let's chat GPT, OpenAI, anything. These models are the stateless stateless model. That means, what do you mean stateless? Whenever you ask one question and they respond you, and there is not maintain any conversation history. Let's say I ask, hey, hi, my name is Vijay, and they respond, hello Vijay, how are you? Again say, hey, what is my name? Maybe he not aware because model cannot store your conversation history. So be carefully aware. Gen AI, all models are the stateless. But you have very curious. Whatever the till now you have used the Gen AI model, like they maintain the conversation history. If you talk something, then talk, then next question, then related question, you are getting response. That means our model, if you think model can maintain the history, they know my answer, they respond properly. So, so that is the logic behind that. Whatever the app you are using, maybe chat browser, let's here you are using that okay. Okay, so here this is the app, whatever the you are using. Okay, so here this is the one application you are something asking. This application internally use the particular model. You are select which model you are going to use, right? So let us continue. Okay, so now notice once you log in here, okay, once you log in here, here we have a model. Which model you want? Lots of model here. Pro GPT. If you log into the properly, you can generate library contain a different model. And the question you ask, your question is what? Okay, so they are our application. What the app here developed, they can provide the utility the way you can say model can maintain your history. What the previous question? What the previous answer? Okay, but by the as a designs, our models are the stateless. They cannot maintain any record, previous history record. But as your applications, whenever talk about your application, right? So your applications, once you develop application, your application have a lots of data, lots of API, something. So our responsibility, let's key, I place some query here, they respond me. Again, I place some query, they respond me. So our responsibility, we have to build some kind of a tool that make helps our applications and model communicate with a very smooth conversation. For those scenario, we are using the lots of your application algorithm, application approach, the way designed. So lots of application framework available that help us to meet. So for example, so here, generally, whatever the generative AI model you are going to use, they have a kind of a request for retrieval data. So you have provide lots of data, and internally, our application designers, application builder, make some kind of a memory conversation history. They maintain, hey model, already you know about this. The next time if I ask question, I provide, hey, this is the my informations which I'm sharing with you. So every call, every chat, we place the relevant information to the model, so model aware, hey, this is the context you are talking. So that is taken care by your application. And sometime whenever you ask information, model maybe some model, the data which are the trend, they data don't know your respective answer. Might be your application have a related data. So why in those, if you ask some question to the model don't have any data to a specific question, they're not responding, or you can say they respond very unnecessary responses. So those scenario, our application designer also means, hey, we have some tools, I provide some tools to you. If you don't have a sufficient data, you can invoke my data, get the response, generate the model, and then, so lots of retrieval, memory, and tools. These are the additional capability our application framework designer, whatever the apps or GenAI model you are going to use. On the top of that, this additional layer of capability we are going to introduce to make our application communicate with the GenAI model with a smooth conversation history. So this is the major problem whenever you are going to use in an application, because your GenAI model is stateless. They don't know about the previous conversation. So we have to maintain the way the system, the model can know the history of my previous call. So there are lots of tools and technique available here, like how they are embedding our applications. So lots of you can say vector store database available, and lots of embedding model, chat model, image model, lots of library available. So these the capability which not a model have, these the components are filled up. Okay, so let's say example, whenever you are asking any question, any input. So whenever ask any input, that is known as a prompt. And the model going to think, going to predict the next output. Here notice they have a completion output. They predict first words, then again feedback to here, next word, again both combine and feedback to here, again next response, again feedback. till completion. So finally you found the get the final text output. So notice the prompt, whatever the information you are sending, they have a limited things. Okay, whatever the problem, as of now, the problem, you put the text in. Question is how much context, how much information you can put in this prompt. So this is the one challenges whenever you are going to put the prompt, put the questions, and so here because our GenAI model is a stateless, that means the context we are included as a part of our prompt, our question. So here, how much data you can feed with the prompt? Surely, whatever the default behavior, but surely this is the limited part. But sometimes we have a question that's related to lots of context data. So how will go? So we're going to solve the application framework, the Gen AI model applications provider take care of those scenarios. Okay, and the basic we send text input, and our model, our process look like a human language and get the output. So lots of challenges like here, the output also limited, and what kind of response they are generating. They are generating response according to you. Let's see, I want to response in the case of JSON or PDF or CVS, so they can respond or not. So we have to they support. In additional, we have to tell the model, hey, you can generate the output in the CSV file or the XML file or JSON file. Okay, so and you can even you can set, hey, if you not know the particular answer, don't reply anything. That is known as a hallucination kind of concept. If you ask question, you always reply something. Maybe you know or don't know. So sometime you can set, hey, this is my temperature, and set if you know this information, tell us. If you don't know, don't tell us. Lots of, and even if you provide lots of complex algorithm to solve the generative AI, might be we have to think be carefully because this is the instruction driven system. Okay, so whenever you are asking the prompt or whenever you are sending question to the model, okay, so models can reply as good as the model know about your context, about your background, about the things you asked. So whenever you are asking any questions, okay, you can set the context. So while asking the prompt to the your Gen AI model, couple of kind of format data or context you provide. Okay, so maybe whatever the user instruction, what the user prompt you want, what are the user questions you want, and sometimes you can say system instruction. System instructions say, hey, this is our Gen AI model. You behave like you are expert in finance, so they are capable to respond in the finance data, are capable for the image processing, are capable for the maybe sports. So you can set hey model, you consider yourself as a particular system administrator, and then the response my user query. And these are the additional context information I will share you. And this is the memory. This is the previous answer and question and answer which you respond. This is your memory you should aware. And these are the tools method. That means these are the some additional API method function which my application had. If we are asking, you can also use these tools or functions call to make the response as good as the user wants. Okay, so whenever you are going to prompt on a system, on an AI model, so prompt can be your short-term chat model or your long-term model. So whenever your prompt to ask your Gen AI model depend upon the size. If short-term and long-term, two types of prompt or questions you ask. So we have to think if your data short term is a very small question, long term you're putting some. So Prompt stuffing means you are putting some additional content here, But what happened? Your additional information is too much high. So this is the concept of the right additional context means ki some we have a some separate file, database, ebook, something. The ebook complete context you cannot pass here because there is a concept of whatever the input prompt you send. There is a concept of token, and on the basis of token, input token and output token, the bill charge happen. So we have to optimize our things. Okay, so we cannot pass as complete database or complete file system in a prompt. So instead, why not use the different concept? So there is a concept of RAG. So RAG provides the additional information in a very effective way in the concept of embedding system. So where we can talk, okay, and even we can also provide some functions, some tools, some API call, or what kind of output you want. All these things you can put in your prompt. Whenever you are asking any prompt, any questions to the model, you have to provide the system instruction. That means you are telling, hey model, you are the specific expert in the particular domain, and then our question can be uh, short memory and long memory. That means you are enable your conversation, your applications and model. If your app and if this is the model, what the conversation you have, you can maintain the history between that. So that model aware, fully aware. Hey, the conversation going on between me and application, and provide the additional context in the form of maybe prompt stuffing means you add some more information with the prompt, or provide the tracking implementation, separate database and embedding concept they're going to. And also with the prompt, you can tell, hey, these are the lots of tools available, function available, metadata available. You can also utilize this concept. So let's look in the scenario. Let us you have your application, like a flight booking assistant application. So you have a in-house your application available. Okay, in this application you have a database, lots of information in database available. In your flight booking system, have lots of API available, function available, and lots of terms and condition documentable. Your applications inside your house, inside your local environment, it's working fine. So if someone asks question, hey model, can you give me the particular flight detail for the particular customer? So question, can chat GPT or any GenAI model or respond or not? Generally, your GenAI model not know your personal data. So maybe they can respond or cannot respond. Maybe unnecessary data can respond, unpredictable data can respond. So this is the challenges whenever you are going to use the Gen AI in your application. Sometime you want, hey, Gen AI model response on the basis of my context, not generic. So these are the reason that both are the your this is your application inside your local environment, specific cloud, and these are the open source model. They are trained on very generic content. Specific your database, specific your API, this model don't know. But still, I want, hey, make interface. Client can communicate to the Gen AI. A Gen AI responds properly if they can get data from here, call this API and then respond. Are required some open source data from open source data. So these are things. Whatever the Gen AI model a client library have, they are for us. For example, let's talk about the one of the Java community using Spring AI is the framework which help us enable whatever the your model and whatever the applications, how interact them. Okay, so this is the concept of your whatever chat model available. So here, this is the concept of whenever you have a large your PDF document file system app, then the concept of a vector store data there. This is your local applications, and this is your model. Now any chat client play between your models and your application. So how the library, a framework written here, so that they can communicate here, they can communicate here, and again give the proper prompt and get the proper response. Okay, so I think we first times whenever we say, hey, we provide the system prompt, hey, this is you are an expert on the particular xyz the domain, and they spring AI enable, hey, the maintain the conversation history, whatever the first question asks, what is the response, question and answer, again ask with the complete question and answer, so he aware what the previous content, response again maintain question and answer. So conversation history we can maintain between the client and our application. Okay, so if how the conversation maintain, let's say, hey, some prompt say, hey, my name is John, hey, say completion say, hey, hello John. Okay, so once next time I ask you what is my question, prompt say, hey, I don't know, because this model is stateless. They question, they response, they don't store any conversations. Next time you ask what is my name, they reply I don't know, because this model don't know about the whatever the previous content. Okay, so what are the next times? Whenever you ask what is my name is John, he say, hey, hello John. So whenever next call you are going to make, you maintain the previous questions and answer. Previous question, my name is John, AI response this. The both, this is the memory you are added to the prompt. So question, your memory plus your my name is John, you ask model, then model response, hey, your name is John. So this model is capable to respond if you provide the sufficient context. So here, this is the concept of memory. So we are maintain the conversation between the model and the application, and whenever next call question going to ask to the model, you have to tell what the my previous response, previous question and response. In this way, our library maintain the conversation history between the models and our application. So conversation history maintain the every request and response, and whenever next time call, you can append those conversation memory with the prompt, with the input. Okay, sometime you want to invoke a specific function on my application or a specific API, that is known as a tool calling. So here they enable tool calling kind of things. Okay, the tool calling means whenever someone asks question, and the same time you can say, hey, this is the two tool we have. Okay, they aware, hey, these are the tools. So internally, next time you associate, hey, this is my conversation history, this is my tool. They have a tool available, and this JNA model. Okay, we have a tool available. They're going to call our AI client library. Going to call this, whatever the response come associated with this, and whole prompt. Now you pass to the that model, and now our model is sufficient to respond with your customized output. So everything here we have to learn how the prompt, how the request we are sending to the model. Whatever the previous your conversation, you are associate, and whatever the any functions you have, you call the function, response them, and again associate with the prompt, so that your model have a sufficient information available about the customer. Now your model is able to respond final output as from your system. Sometimes a tool calling or function calling or tool back functions. So once you share the prompt, hey, this is my question, this is my prompt available, they go to the AI model, okay, they generate the sequence of response, and internally we have some tools. The tools call your application, get the response, again ask model, hey model, this is the tool response. Now model response you properly chat response. So internally, whatever the client library or app you are building for the chat or any GenAI model, you have to maintain proper, you can say, memory conversation or prompt stuffing. That means whatever the prompt or question you are sending to the model, whatever the original query you have, that's great, but you have to provide the sufficient context information from where the model aware about their response the question as per you want. If you not provide the complete context information, they can respond something that you are not interested. So that is known as a prompt stuffing. Prompt stuffing means you have original prompt and some additional context data you want to append them, and then ask model, and model responds you back. Okay, and prompt stuffing, if your size of the stuffing or context is so larger, the instead of putting everything in the prompt, there is a concept of the vector store they are created. This is the embedding model or embedding database. So whatever the data source you have, you can read the data and split the data in the different document using the splitter, and then chunk them different chunks and store in the specific database known as a vector database. And in vector database is generally is the numerical or the format of your complete chunk. They are storing in the number systems, floating point number. They are array of floating point numbers, and they are specific designs to manage the bulk data. And once you request the query, your prompt generation retrieve the is this for this question, what the relevant data required from the relevant data we get from the vector, and those relevant data plus original query we combine them and again ask model, hey model, generate the response. So notice, model is very independent, stateless. They cannot maintain any conversation. That's your application designer. Client, whatever the application client you are going to the build, that's your responsibility to provide the sufficient context detail for your model. Then your model is response like a human, like the response you want. So, here our library, AI model library, able to communicate with a GenAI model with required context. Maybe your local database context, local API context, are the different details, whatever you have. Okay. So lots of for a vector store, lots of vector store database available. You can MongoDB, Oracle, maybe you can Postgres, lots of data available. So here the all the documents, terms, conditions, whatever your database available, everything you can just store in the embedding model database. And embedding model database is a number system. Can say your informations are stored in the form of your floating point number. And once you ask any query, our library are responsible to retrieve or fetch the relevant information from the vector, and again associated the prompt and ask model, hey model, this is the prompt, this is the complete data the vector store you require, and this is the complete memory conversation you have. Let's go and reply. So in this case, our GenAI model are properly replies to us. Okay, so this is a lots of theory happen. Let's talk about the demo, how we can test them. Generally, and everyone you should know, you can open the chat GPT or from the WhatsApp or anybody ask question, they are replying. That's good. Is similar thing we can integrate in my applications or not? Yes. So I talk. We have a to ask question with a Gen AI. You need a LLM. So at Task we have two kind of LLM available. One is the open source and one is the proprietary. So for testing purpose, let's go with the open source. Think how you can download, install, and run locally. So good part, Ollama is the one of the open source platform that make us easy to run LLM on my local machine. So this large language model generally they are run on the cloud, but this platform provide us, hey, you can download LLM, install it on our local machine. Now you can ask any question, our system reply. But you have to aware. So whatever the LLM you are going to downloading, we have to check the credibility, the parameter, the cutoff date, what the kind of this the model is. Accordingly, your local system behave. So it's very good for the initial for the developer. And if you want to really learn the Gen AI capability, so for learning purpose, this is the very good. But surely you cannot go with this for the production. Okay. So this is a very key feature about the Llama. You can say, good part, you can run LLM on your local machine. Even whatever your hardware you have, a GPU, CPU, whatever you have, but you can run. This Ollama offer you. Even they support multiple LLM. Even you can integrate not the only one model. At a time, you can install and download multiple models. And so even you can fine tune or load your own model. And this Ollama provides the CLI and API. You can communicate with Ollama from the CLI or even from the API as well as. And whenever you are going to build any application, generally we are going to use the API to communicate. And for the testing purpose, you can use CLI to ask any question. Okay. And even good part, there is no internet required for the Ollama. Once you download and install Ollama and associate the particular model and local your Gen AI capable system available. So first things, this is the Ollama website. You can go and download here. Just you can according to the your OS, Mac OS, Linux, and Windows. You can click here. You download and install. Very simple installer, sir. Once you install, then you found the once you install. Let's this is the install. You can say Ollama. This they are the commands here. What the model currently we have installed here. This is the already have installed. If once you download one install, this Ollama command is the available. Okay, Ollama. You just type the here I mention. If you type just Ollama, lots of commands available for you. You want to help remove models, CP model, PS model, running model, listing all the models, sign out, sign in, post, run. This is the command when you want to run this. Okay, this is the command which Ollama is running. Okay, so if you search Ollama PS, so notice the PS is in the list of running model. There is no models is running. The question: how can you run the model? You run the model with the run command. Run and mention the model. So if you look here, this is the models. Click here, and you found all the models available. Right now, GPT model. So while the selecting model, there are different kind of a model. You notice that some are the embedding model. Like if you're going to implement RAG, you require the embedding model. If you are like some tools, like you want to support your model callback function calling, that's you go to the tooling call. You want to your model can think like human, you can go with the thinking model. Okay, so depend upon the use cases, you can go and select the model. Let's any model you're going to, let's click this model. So this model, whenever you notice all the models are trained on the huge large data set. So notice if you download this, they like 102B, then it will take a 65 GB on your machine because they have trained lots of data. So depend upon your machine's availability. Due to that, generally we are not running the LLM model are local because they have required sufficient hardware, lots of memory. So for testing purpose, let's not worry, but you can download the model which are the very smaller size. Notice I have a download like a couple of model. They have some limited size, like this size, limited size. And even you can change check here lots of a model with a which size. So different model available here. These are embedding model, these are embedding any llama model. By default spring use this model. Okay, by default if you are using the spring AI, so they are use this model, Mistral latest. Okay, so if okay, here we have a, let's run this. Then let's see you want to run any. So whatever the command you mentioned, Ollama run and your model name. So here you can run Ollama run. Let's run like this one. Okay, okay, this one. So now notice they are started running. Here you can ask who are you. Okay. So now they are responding better. Okay. Any question you can ask. What is your your cutoff date? Okay, so this model was a trend till 21. So whenever you ask any question, that will respond till 2021. So be carefully, whatever the model you are going to use, be carefully check what the cutoff date. According to they are going to respond to you. So our intention, not the check the validity. Our intention how from our application we talk to the Gen AI model and they generate me response right now. So let's stop. And now you again ask, hey, any model running? So notice one model is running. Okay, great. So these are things, very thing, just download and run. So whenever you can just download and run this command, if this model is not on your local, they download and again install. So good part here, just run this command. They can, if this is not available local, first they download it and then again start running. If you want to more detail, hey, how this model work, what are the parameter, what are the input, what are the versions, and what kind of tools available, which tools available here, what available options available, what are the function calling, CLI, everything here. This is the API. They want to call details. Okay. So here lots of details you can find here, but okay. Initially, you understand for running. LLM, Gen AI model and local, you go to the Ollama website and click at the download. Download a specific software according to the OS. Then Ollama install them. They're done. After that, you go to the model and just open any kind of like a DeepSeek, download and run the copy command and run this command. Once this is run by default, this one 5 GB data. These models are start, and this model support tooling thinking 1.5 billion parameter. These are the different parameters we have. So lots of things available, how DeepSeek work, what are the different versions, what command. So read out everything. Okay. Great. So this is the way we know how we can download and run LLM model on your local. So Ollama is the interface. They provide the CLI and API command from your local. You can communicate to the Gen AI model. Okay. And question that now your Ollama running a local machine in this, you have a already LLM. Question is that key you are how to communicate with the LLM. Ollama is the app allow interface to communication between your application and LLM model. So here now question, lots of interface available for you. Like maybe if you want to use in the Python have a lots of library like long chain is the most popular framework for building a Gen AI app, or maybe uh, LL Llama Index, formerly known as GTP Index, and maybe high stack. So lots of library, a framework available if you are using the Node.js JavaScript, LangChain.java, OpenAI SDK, or even a Vercel AI SDK available. So these are library available to help us. Hey, now on your local Ollama running, support LLM can run now. Maybe you can communicate to LLM by CLI. So I can so how can communicate with CLI? But sometime our application can communicate. So how what kind of library are everything's available? For JavaScript is available. If you are using the .NET application, these are the some SDK for the integrating AI available. Or maybe support any kind of OpenAI, Azure AI, and Hugging Face kind of LLMs. And even you're building some kind of cross-platform applications. Directly, you can use Ollama API, okay, or maybe Hugging Face API interface, or Entropic SDK, or Google AI SDK. So lots of nowadays SDK available where you can easily integrate your application with an LLM. Okay, so for the Java, lots of library available. So which initially we talked about the Spring AI. Spring AI is the kind of a framework available. They provide the chat client library that help us to all the communication between your application and to your LLM. So very smooth way now you can integrate your Java application with any LLM model, maybe OpenAI or Hugging Face or ChatGPT, any model you can communicate. And if you talk to lots of library, I believe about Gen AI, maybe like today we are going to talk about kind of like Ollama is the one Java client library, or you can go Open API Java SDK or Google API SDK, Vertex API SDK, Azure API SDK. So lots of your SDK available, which help us to make integration between your application and the LLM. So the list is very huge. You can just Google and find out lots of list available. Maybe deep Lava available, Lang J4 available, Lang J4 plus Spring Boot integration available. So lots of library available. You guys. So not to go much more time, but explore. So notice Gen AI is a very generic concept, not for a specific programming language. Okay. So now LLM is placed, and now your application in whatever the language, you can find out proper suitable library or client that make smooth integration between the both. So here we are going to demo about the one Spring AI because Java generally lots of engineer in Java using the Spring as a framework as a tool to develop the API, develop the application. So in Spring also offer the Spring API as a Java framework to make easy for the developer to integrate the Gen AI and LLM into application. So whatever the Gen AI concept with the LLM, you can very easily integrate with the your application. Also, very simplest way. So Spring work very intelligently and provide the very simplified one interface chat client that help us to communicate with the Gen AI enabler. And they provide the very abstract API interacting with the Gen AI model. Any Gen AI model, maybe you can talk to the Open AI ChatGPT and Azure OpenAI, Hugging Face, any kind of model, any model later party can integrate. Just today we are going to integrate with the Ollama powered any kind of LLM. So this Spring AI help us the developer to build AI powered application without knowing the low level hardware detail or anything. This is the very simplest way help us you can build the application. So Spring AI, the very good part, they just provide one very simplified client, chat client. I'll go into, so how chat client? Chat client is the core component of Spring AI that provide a high level API that help us to interact our application with the LLM. And even they are provided a very smooth calling API. Directly you can call to the send prompt, receive response, and very generic, very structured way. And they support you can maybe prompts, ask question and respond, or maybe streaming response as well as are integrating the multiple, even with the one. the Spring AI application, you can integrate the multiple model and you can get the response from multiple model. Whatever suitable, you can just go for your response. So let's look how to build your application and what kind of a configuration is required to build your application. So, so let's a basic way go and start.io the Spring and go just build one simple application. So let's go to the Java, Maven, your Spring, just GL, and let's Gen Gen AI demo, Gen AI demo. Okay, and just select whatever default. And here we are going to just say, hey, Spring Babe. And now you are going to check the Ollama or any API. You can say AI. So lots of AI tool here found. Azure AI, Mistral AI, Stability AI, Azure Open AI, DeepSeek, Hugging Face. Lots of Open AI you can connect anything. So here, depend upon your use case. You can, if you want to connect Open AI, you can connect. Today for the demo, I'm going to use the Ollama. Uh, yeah, just select Ollama. Nothing else. Now simple web application, and now our application can communicate to the LLM, and that helps all. Okay, let's download happen. Just unzip them. Okay, unzip them. Let's open any. You can say any editor. You can open them. So let's okay. Uh, just happen. Okay. So let's. I want to open my. Oh, there. How I want to hide them. Okay, let's. I want to just open my project. Okay, new project. Open editor. No. Okay. Mhm. Where I so sad. One repository. I want to open project. Oh, so let's open. Oh, so strange. I can open the application here. File open. Hold on. Let's. I can select this one. Okay, right. So now this is the close it. So once you okay, everything I just close this. Let's open our application. Okay, this is simple applications are. So let's just run this application is running our file. Okay, so the application is started very nice. Okay, nothing happened. So let's build our one simple API. So let's build one simple one controller. Oh, my Okay, okay, let's minimize them, close them. Okay, so here simple, I'm going to build a class my controller and just build one, just mention this is the REST controller and this is the get mapping. Okay, okay, let's uh, maybe AI API, and here just ask the question, just response parameter. Okay, I just know just test the API is working or not. Okay, here question. Okay, we are asked the method name just okay ask, and that's we simple build one API. If I ask some questions, okay, and then it will respond something. Okay, let's run this application and let's test from the, even you can test from the here localhost. Okay, sorry, http colon localhost 8080 plus AI. Okay, what is happened? Mm, slash AI get request. What is saying? Local, right? It should be done. HTTP. No, something is wrong happened. What is? Let's see. Okay, my controller list. Test. Let's test here. Which port they are running? 808. Okay. Let me add one HTTP. Color 8080 SAI. Okay, pat request. We are asking the question. So let's ask a question. Question equal to who are you? That is who are you embedding. So now we can ask this API, okay, and they are not. So now question, let's key ask this question to the model. Okay, now how I can integrate with the model. So Spring AI provides a very simplified way. You can say just use the private uh, chat client. Chat client is the interface that is provided by the Spring AI, and this way you can communicate. Okay, and that let's initialize with the constructor. Okay, so now I can initialize this with the constructor. And notice this chat client is the interface, then we need a implementation of that. Okay, because we cannot initialize until there is not pin available. So better way, Spring AI provide one utility like chat client builder. You can use a chat client builder. And here you can say chat builder, chat builder, chat builder. Quick fix. Import. Oh, where is the chat client builder? Quick fix. Here, AI frameworks. That should be chat builder. So if you look the documentation, they provide the chat builder. Spring AI. Spring. Spring. Spring AI docs. And here go the, you can just look for this documentation. Spring AI provide this gets started model chat client. So in the chat client, this is the chat client, and you can say chat client dot builder. This is the way you can initialize the. So here you can say chat client dot builder. Okay. So this is the way you can build your application. Now you have a client available for you. Now after that, this question you can say, hey, chat client dot prompt prompt. You can ask a question and get the response. Say, hey, dot call and dot content. So this is the way you can just say, hey, chat client, this is my prompt, call them and get the response. And let's restart application and test it. So go to the here and again ask the same question. So notice I am a model by the mistry at all. Okay, so this is the way you can communicate with your model. So now my application is able to communicate with the uh, model. Okay, so if you want to make a more request and response kind of things, so there are. So let's next question. Tell me uh, list 10 features of Spring AI. Spring AI. Yeah, Java. Okay. So if you talk, they are listing the responding question. So sometime you want, notice here our models are just evaluate everything, then they respond. So they support, Spring AI support both kind of, means you can want response should be streaming. Okay. So instead of just waiting all the data prepare and then telling, you can even ask, hey, may let's like a stream, strm stream is, and here just say ask by a stream. Okay. And now the only question here change the history. So and the response would be flux of your history. Okay. So this is the only change, and let's restart here. So applications. Let's stop them. Control C. Stop them and again restart. Okay. Now application started, and let's test. HTTP colon local host colon 800 slash AI slash stream. Okay, okay, something different. What is AI slash stream? This is my API, and we have to ask question. HTTP column local question mark. Okay. Why they are not responding? Okay. I have a build simple. Let's see from here. You have test from terminal. If you ask again this, they are responding, but this should be HTTP online. AI question mark. Okay. Somehow the browser was cached. They are should respond. Okay. So they are responding. So let's test the API slash stream. CPU let's test API slash stream. Okay. And ask question. Okay. They are responding like a stream. Okay. So in this way, you are the support both kind of API, maybe call-based API that means they response completely response, or a stream-based API they can get this based API. So you can say this is the basic way you can start with the building. You can ask any questions, whatever in a in a Java. Uh, okay, what is the what is Gen AI? Okay, they can ask, they can respond. What is the Gen AI? What is generative AI? Okay, they are just okay. So now you can say now your applications are able to communicate with a local LLM. But, but similarly, if your LLM in the you can say on your cloud or proprietary, so you can just change the configurations. Okay, by default, let's say you want to connect to the OpenAI. So here say Spring AI OpenAI and pass the your API key and which model. Okay. Similarly, for the Ollama, you can just communicate here. So good part, whatever the here mentioned, like he mentioned this way, you can make the controller, call them and prompt. Okay. So if you look the model, which models we are supporting, like here, go to the chat model, and this is the Ollama. So how your application communicate with Ollama or OpenAI, here mentioned how to just download, what the configuration you want to change, everything you want to change. Okay. So here I mentioned if you want to make some different model. Okay, so let's check which models our API respond here. I want to, so let's enable logging. If you want to get the more detailed response, you have options. You can enable log. So if you look this API documentation of this Ollama and go to the chat API. Here mentioned you can enable the log level logger. Okay, log advisor. Simple, simple logger. Okay. So here you can just associate simple log, and then they are telling the details, ki which model, everything. So just you can initiate this advisor, simple log advisor. So in the building your client, here you have to, option. You can say Here you can say dot add default advisor and just paste them and just enable the log level. Okay, simple, quick fix. Import. Okay, so just you add them and he mentioned you can just enable log level. So now you are able to get the more detail. Let's open our application configuration here, and here you can just mention this, and let's restart application. And after that, if you just hit your application, let's view. Okay, just chat here and just hit the API. So now you head the API and go to the server log and check. So now they are logging everything, whatever the question, whatever the answer. So notice we have a chat request, and whatever the question, what is the GNMA question, and what is the this is the as a work as an assistant, and this is the response they generated. Okay, and everything they are find here right now. So detailed response you can get here. Look finish response stop. This is now our model. Notice this is the model you are using the Mr. I want to use a different model. Okay, so then let us check what the model here we are using list. So let's key I want to use this model. Okay, so I have to go and change this model. So our application going to change the different model. So for that, here I mentioned this is the just we have to put the different configuration. Okay, so this configuration you have to put the in your application. Once they put the application, and this information already available in your Llama here model, chat model, go to the Ollama, and here mention which country. This is the by default. Notice here spring.i.ollama chat option. By default, they are using the Mistral. If you want to change, you can change the configuration. So I change them and go to restart my application. So let's close them and go to the application, run the application. So my application is running, and let's go, and now I ask the same question. If I run now, go to the our logs here and notice which model they are using. So by default, they are using strain mist. Okay, we have to run them. Okay, notice the finally this is the not running. Okay, this PS. So this is the running model. Let's run this model. Copy and say model run this. Okay, okay they are not running. Let's buy. So let's check PS. Now our model this is also running. Okay, so this is also running. Okay, maybe you have to now let's restart them and again testing. Okay, what happened? Application. So this is the problem and terminal. This is the log. So notice they are saying something error. So this is a 7B not found. Okay, I have mentioned 7B. Let's check. Okay, 7B. How on which I running? We are now run the PS. So they are running 2B. Okay, so let's change the 2B and save, and again restart. Control it, and then again go application and run the application. Now application running, and here I run it. So let's they are responding. There is now model change, so response time would be made. So finally we are getting some different response right now. And let's go check the application log. And now let's check, this is the logs they are returning. So which model? Now notice they are using the model, this model. Notice they are using the prompt token, completion token, total token. So here, whenever whatever the you are asking question, those questions are input are broken by the token in the model. So the model go open AI tokenizer. If you go here and just open here, and here the different kind of let's same question, this is our question, okay, you ask, okay, what is the Gen AI? So they are going to convert, so token, notice this is the token they are converted. So tokens and corresponding token ID. So finally our request go to the model in the form of a token ID, and according to the token they are going to charge you. So token equals understand the words, or you can say not the word exact, but the token can be the a different way broken by this LLM. Means ki LLM how know the language, okay, and how they are trained. According to the trend they are going to generate token. Finally whatever the input we are passing here, those input are converted to the tokens, and token map to the token ID. Those token ID tokens passed to the LLM. LLM produce them, and notice they are responding like here. So here, so mention they are mentioned input token 13 means that means our Gen AI, whenever our application pass, they are pass some additional information to the token as well as, and plus what the response, this is complete response token, and your total token 570. So if you want to more detail about this, so you can just enable this default logger for the or a Spring AI, and you can get the complete detail, request, response, everything. Okay. So there are lots of things to talk, but today we are not going to cover more things. But you can just understand the basic concept. You can just install Ollama local and start your application. If you want to just make the some configuration, which configuration you want, and then your application can AI application connect to the anyone. The simple to initialize your chat client, just use the chat client at builder and apply the build method. And here the builder have a lots of additional tools we are going to talk in later. Right, they are support to build, like here you can either default advisor, default memory, default tools. So lots of your client uh, uh, chat client you can twin them, configure them according to your need, right? So different way also you can use the initialize the chat client using the chat builder or using the chat model. Chat client have a create method, you're going to pass the create model. A chat builder have a sprint API method. So different way and ask a question answer. And this is way you can just couple of coming days we'll talk everything whatever is Spring AI, learn and go to doc references, and here you can pass everything whatever you talk, whatever the chat completion, how it's work, how model work, how can initialize, what the different model. And good part here our Spring AI can communicate with the Entropy, Azure AI, DeepSeek, Docker Run model, Google, Grok, Mistral AI, Minimax, lots of Ollama, different open, and even Open AI are lots of. So any model you can, if you want to connect Open AI, just click here and detailed configuration you can how to communicate. Just you can go and configure this. If you want to connect Open API provide one generate. Go to the login OpenAI URL and generate the API key and press the API key here, and finally your application able to talk to the Open API model. So everything's here are the place. Just you go, and I mentioned this is the complete Gen AI model architectures. if you want to details how the internally model works, how they are generate sequence by sequence response, and with the concept of feed forward concept, everything read out here. And Ollama document, Ollama model, everything is available here. If you want to read more about the references document, how Ollama internally, which API expose, this is the API expose. We call them what are the API request, response, everything's here. Okay. So lots of things we have to talk about the Gen AI, but surely we are not going to cover each and everything in a session. But yeah, surely at least today we are starting how we can use the Gen AI concept, Gen AI model in our application. Depend upon your use case, you can start with a open source or you can start with a proprietary. Just open source, you have to download the model, install the model, and then start the model and communicate with the API. But whenever you're using the proprietary model like OpenAI, just go to the OpenAI browsers and generate API key and configure your application, and now your application able to communicate. Okay, so that is the summary concept. Whatever the app applications you are building, your application are building can think, can communicate with your uh, chat GPT or open LLM model. So LLM model that's the work on the transformer architectures, and generally our application not directly communicate to the LLM. Instead, we are using the library. If you are using the Java application, you use Java application. The Java library you are using like we use the Spring AI, or you can Python library different. So our application talk to the client library. Client library internally communicate to the model, communicate a model, and finally response. So these are the way our Spring AI make very simplified way your application can communicate to the LLM model, get a response, and make your application AI powered application. So lots of application you can build help of your Spring AI and any library even. The objective is not the just look, we are using the Java language, so we're talking about the Java language. If you're Python, you can talk the Python library. But overall, the Gen AI capability LLM models are the same for the any language which are we using. Every Gen AI model work under your transformer architectures. They can take input. This is the stateless. They can take input and predict next output, and again feedback, predict the next sequence of what, and once they are complete your response, then they generate the file. So internally they take input, they generate one kind of a sequence of what, then again feed here, they go again and this time generate your two words, again feedback, again generate, and once they feel or transform, hey, this is the complete response we generated, then send back to the client. So sometime you're in a streaming based, so you can get this response, then this response, then this response. Sometime you want to full response, then you can take a full response. So overall, Gen AI help us our application become a AI powered applications if we our application can integrate communicate with any LLM model that may be on your machine or maybe on the cloud. So hope this information is give you the very little bit idea how you can start using Gen AI LLM model in your application using the client library look like a Spring AI provided library. If you are using Python, Python have a different library. So depend upon your language. You are using the JavaScript, JavaScript have a library. Windows, Windows have a library. So whatever the language you are building application for your language, lots of library available. Every library available allow you very smooth your application can communicate and your library talk to the model and get the response, and now your application become more responsive and they are more capable than your existing knowledge, because you are using building application have a limited knowledge, but whenever your application communicate to the LLM, now your application have enough knowledge. Customer query, ask any query, your response very uh, good content, just depend upon the context you are offering to the LLM. Okay, so that is the point which I want to convey for the day. So hope this information is help you to know about the basic of Gen AI model and how you can start using in your application. Thank you.